Okay. So, this morning I want to talk about the lines of truth on this planet and their corruption. How the lines of truth deviate from the truth, basically. So, what do I mean with lines of truth? In all the religions, in all spiritual movements, in all the people have received from the truth, from the higher planes, from what is beyond this world, from higher dimensions, from God. There is basically they're all based on the truth. They all come from truth. They all come from truth. Eventually everything comes from truth. Obviously. Where should it come from, from its source. But yeah, basically all spiritual traditions have a core of truth in their origin. Letting aside spiritual, creations or constructions that human build, like whatever, Scientology or stuff like that, like cults that are purely Luciferian. With Luciferian, I mean that it uses the power of light, it uses the power of energy for basically the human does it for personal purposes, and as soon as it's done for personal purposes, there is automatically the Luciferian catch on it. And so there are some cults and stuff that are they don't even come from truth. They are already a deviation in and of itself. But I won't talk about them. I will talk simply about what is most common in spirituality. Everybody knows. First of all, everybody knows. Everybody knows in their own heart. Everybody knows what is true. Everybody, if you go fine enough, deep enough, if you resonate with your heart, you know that a transmission or a teaching or a practice or a mantra or a yantra or in whichever way this transmission comes through the shaman, through the priest, through whoever it came, through the prophet, that there is this resonance of higher truth, higher reality. And it's in the teaching. It's received. And everybody who hears it has this ability to resonate with the truth of it. And that is why people then come into a stream. Before these times where everything has opened, and you can access any tradition anywhere in the world, basically, it was very culturally limited. So basically there was just, the Middle Ages, if you want to be a mystic, you were a Christian, because that was what was, and if you lived in Iran and Persia, you became a mystic. You were a Muslim, and if you lived when the Jewish community, well, then you were Kabbalist, So you would, within every tradition, it's possible to be a direct, be in the transmission of truth. And in its origin, all founders of of the religions, all the prophets were basically downloading levels of truth. Now there are many different levels of truth, many different levels. So it's in the shamanic world, it comes much more from the high levels of the astral planes, which are very, very permeable by what is eternally true. Even so, there are forms on particular planes, but these forms are so pure and so clean that what they transmit is also the truth. And then there are other levels. There are levels that are beyond the astral plane. There are levels that are all the way to the absolute, and all the way to what is behind the absolute darkness, the eternal kingdom of God. And all of that is in some way or another accessible as a resonance. I'm not saying that it's all accessible, because human consciousness is, in its makeup and its stage of evolution, it's so limited that it isn't really, it can't really access what God is, we can't. But we can drop into its depth. And individually it was possible over many centuries, many thousands of years, that people would drop directly into what the absolute is, and into the resonance of God. Now the way they would translate it into ciphers that make it accessible for us through our mind, and practices that make it available for us through our perception, through our body, through our emotion, those translations were very different. So that's why, just like every culture has different codes of the divine, it has also different emphasis. Like different cultures kind of represent different medicines. Like they represent, what I mean by this is they represent different streams of the divine, and bring them into their teachings. So each culture holds like a particular pearl, a particular jewel of consciousness. But it's all not so different at the end, because it all comes from the same. It's the same. And when I'm talking about what I talked today, which is like the deviation, like how these original lines of truth, how they corrupt, that's for all the lines of truth, all over the planet. It's all over. It's the same. You can't say like the Christ approach is more real in and of itself than the approach of the the Prophet Muhammad, or the approach. There are levels. There are many, many levels. There are many levels of evolution, and there are levels of what you access. So it's a difference, 5,000 years or 10,000 years ago, in the matriarchal early days of humankind. The level of where the information and the transmission came through the shaman was different than than what came through the Buddha or through the Christ. But as I said, I'm not going into leveling anything of that. I'm going like into the essence of that, which is the truth, and which is as it's the truth, it's real, it's true, it's what is, it's divine, it's clean. It doesn't come from the mind. It's not created by our ideas. It comes from what is eternally real. it just gets translated into our reality of perception into different ways, in different ways. So now, in this translation process, I'll make it really simple. If you're clean at heart, you can't go wrong. Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you're in a very particular, very restricted culture, whatever spiritual resonance there is around you, you will naturally tap into it, and you will move in your evolution, in your spiritual evolution. If you're anything other than pure at heart, you'll misunderstand. You will use your mind, and you can go all the way to the Catholic Church that was just a total distortion, where it was just about power and about domination and about control and about all qualities that are not divine qualities, while they're using the teachings of a Christ, But that same principle you can find in every religion. And that is because the forces that are contrary to the divine, they work. They always have an eye on us here on Earth, They have a great interest in getting energy from humans. So they kind of come into those lines of truth and do what they do, which is take advantage from the spiritual opening that is going on for their purposes. So that's happening in every spiritual community. It's everywhere. And in this special time that we're now, where like the middle ground is falling off, where it's like either you're in the truth or you're in your illusion, and you choose deep inside as conscious, not in your mind, as consciousness, you choose. So you may use the very same words and be speaking the truth, or you can use the same words and be speaking whatever you make up in your mind, and it might not be distinguishable at first from an outer perspective. It might be in the same community, it might be the same people who are following doing the same practices, doing the same rituals, talking about we are one. But when you are clear and when you're in your heart opens, you might not see what's going on. But you're on the safe side if your heart is just open, you will evolve with the lineage of truth. If you're in a lineage of truth and you make it all about your mind, and you make it all about you, about your ideas, about what you want to have it, how you want to have it, you put your ideas together with all your religious studies, with all your practices, so you refine a construction of the ego. And as that happens, and it happens again in all the religion, in all spiritual movements, then you are deviating from the truth. And it might go that far that the lineage itself becomes deviated. It's kind of normal. And in these times, it becomes very, very, very clear. So go to, it can be as simple as that. I noticed that when I first ever did something, like with 18 or something, 19, I went to Hare Krishna temples, and I would see these devotees, and some where they're like 20, 30 years, and some were just happy, and you could see that they're really Krishna, Krishna, and they're, they're in their heart. And then there are others that are Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, working hard and being not satisfied. So does it come from? Where does the difference come from? The difference come from what you're actually doing within. What are you actually moving in surrender and in a truthful giving yourself to the right thing within? Or are you giving yourself to something that is not the right thing, and you know it in your heart? So you know it in your heart, but you may not know it in your mind, because to know it in your mind, what needs to be there is an opening of the third eye, an opening of the seeing of the spiritual levels. So when you move in that and you have that opening of the third eye, you will see the difference. You will see where energy is taken from the light, or where energy is given so the light can flow. And it's not the third eye in itself that will see the truth. It's the alignment, the complete alignment, that makes the difference. When the complete alignment is there, then the third eye will see what is real. It will be in its seeing. It will see the flow of truth. And I'm saying this because you can, as much as you can use just your normal thinking mind to deviate, believe that you're saying the truth, reading the Bible, reading the scriptures, doing the stuff, and talking and not being in that alignment. You can confuse your mind. You can also confuse your third eye. You can also be a seer, even a massive seer, a powerful seer, where everybody says, wow, he knows so much, he sees so much. Yes, he does. But it's not in alignment. It's not used. The third eye can only balance when you completely open the seventh chakra, when you completely open the crown, when you completely let the divine flow through you, like you're given. Then your third eye naturally will see everything. And that seeing, it comes with a price. It can be very painful when you're in that alignment, so all chakras are opening to it. And emotionally, it has an effect on the third chakra. It has an effect on the heart chakra. It has an effect on the throat. It has an effect on every level. On every level, there's either the deviation, or there is just the clear alignment. What I say it comes with a price is because you will only see the truth and be in the truth if you give yourself away. And the mechanism of how the deviation of that truth comes is when you're not paying the price, when you're holding on to your idea, to your way, to I want, you make it about yourself. That is where the lines of truth become mispurposed. Like the purpose of it is not true. The purpose is not the God, The purpose is I. And that is the battlefield that we're in, really. So, whatever your background is, wherever you come from in your spiritual practice. I mean, if you come to this video, I don't know, maybe you were in Satsangs, maybe you were you know, in a church, maybe you're in a doing some Buddhist practice, which is you Sufi or whatever you are, uh, you're in that same field. You're in a lineage of truth where partially those who have kept this lineage have probably partially deviated. There are two things to differentiate. Um, it's a difference when, let's say, a shaman in his little Amazonian village, his spiritual evolution can be absolutely clean and still limited to the levels that are coming down. But he may still be absolutely clean and absolutely pure in what he receives. He will really receive the truth, do the truth, be the truth, and move on in his soul evolution. Even so, it happens within a particular context. So that is clean. That someone doesn't know everything doesn't mean that he deviated. It just means he knows whatever he knows. Deviation happens when you do know, but you don't use that knowledge that you have in a way that is true, in a way that is clean, in a way that is in full alignment, in a way that is given, in a way that is one. But you use it in a way that is tight, that is interested, that is dualistic, that is I am right with this, that is you are wrong with that, that is separating, that is all the faces of the ego, that is arrogant, that is self inflating because it says, oh my God, I know better than you know because I'm part of this religion, or when you use all those things that are not the truth, but in the words of the truth. And you will find that, say this again, every spiritual tradition. You will not find the guru may be truth or have been the truth itself, truth embodied, gone all the way in. But the disciples may not be like that, So don't judge a guru by their disciples, And the deviation is tempting for anybody with self-interest, So I want to keep it as simple. The answer to this, how do the lines of truth corrupt? Make it really simple. When you're in some way putting any shadow on your heart, instead of letting the heart be open unconditionally, paying the price, accepting the emotional pain that you will go through for your evolution. There's no other way. When anybody tells you, no, there's only light and love and you don't need to face any darkness, it's not possible. It's through going through this darkness that we pay the price that brings us into the speeding up of our evolution. If that's authentic, that's it. And if you use the teachings, the practices, the belief system, etc., to keep a hold on something, I am part of this group and I'm in this lineage and I'm doing this practice, and you can sense in people if they're really coming from the real place or they're coming from the place that is not it. You can sense it. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Just the nature of teachings and spiritual groups are in a way that they give a lot of mental information, or as I say, or practices, and behind that, both can hide. The truth can hide behind the words of truth, which is not a hiding, but is like a direct transmission, or behind the words of truth, illusion can hide. And you know the difference. Everybody knows. Everybody who deviates from the truth knows. They may tell themselves, oh, Jesus Christ and the Savior and hallelujah and I don't know what, Namah Shivaya or whatever, It's not the truth. It's not the truth. Because you're not being it. That's it. If you're being it, it's the truth. And everybody knows this difference. Deep down, we do know the difference. So tune into that finest sense of what you directly know. That's the truth. And it's uncorruptible. A lineage of truth. Well, let's put it like the truth is uncorruptible. Lineages of truth are by nature corruptible because they have a form that can be used. And in that using of the form, consciousness can go in and use those words, use those information, use those practices, which is the rituals, for something that is not true, that is not one with your heart. And yeah, everybody knows, you have these inner feelers. And I say again, when you're good-hearted, when you're in your heart, you're on the safe side. When you're in love, and love is what you're really being, and what is guiding you, and what you're coming from, which is a very simple act. Everybody can do that. You don't even need to be part of any lineage of truth or anything. Any housewife, anywhere, in any hut, in any wood, forest, she can do her work. And when she's doing her work, she's in this openness of heart and the giving of her heart and being simply in the heart, then she's coming from the truth. No corruption there. Corruption comes when there is that catch of the ego on whatever truth is expressed. Aho! So stay tuned, stay clean, stay in this eternal connection. Stay in this flow of the divine that is coming through. Give yourself completely, and the truth is what is. Deviations are illusory and temporary. The truth is forever. Truth is